Hi, this is a review of the Boardman CX Team. Had this bike about a year now and really like it. I bought it originally just to do some trials and things. I've never really been into mountain biking, come from a road background, but I just wanted just something a little bit different, just to adventure into places like this. Lovely day out here, and just sort of different adventures really. So I had about a year, and you could pretty much do whatever you wanted with this bike. If you wanted to, you could just have it as your only bike really. You could, I've done some stuff on it which you probably wouldn't necessarily do on a normal CX bike. I've just actually fitted some new tyres to it. It came with Schwalbe Rapid Robs and 35mm wide. I've just made a change to them. These are the Schwalbe Land Cruisers, 40mm, just to have. It's quite sandy in this area, so it doesn't dig in quite so much. One of the things that makes this bike such a good all-rounder is its really good quality frame. Though it's aluminium, really don't be put off by that, because of the width of the tyres that you're riding, you're not going to get that road vibration. But have a look at those welds. Look how smooth that is. I mean, it's obviously pretty dusty, but what they do basically at the factory is they weld it and smooth it, and then weld it again and smooth it. So it's actually a double welded frame. The only area where they can't actually get a smooth weld is obviously on the bottom bracket, but even so, I think you agree that's still a pretty reasonable job, even down there. It's got the SRAM 1x 11-speed system on it, which has also got the hydro brakes. And I've had a little bit of experience in the past of riding with hydraulic brakes from mountain bikes, but not actually from the road side of things. So this you could class as something between a CX bike, an adventure bike. You could use it as a commuter bike. You could tour on it. It's got pannier mounts. You can fit mud guards to it. It's got mud guard eyes. So lots of people I know sort of have these sort of bikes, have two sets of wheels, so that they can use it as a CX bike sort of during the winter, and a normal road bike in the summer. It's obviously not going to handle quite as sharp as a road bike on the road. I've never had it in that configuration, but nevertheless you could do it if you could only have one bike. I've just added stuff that you obviously don't get from the factory. I've added some Boardman pedals, single-sided, so if you want to go down the shops, you can use a normal flat-sided, or you can use an SPD on that side. The SPD is actually, the cleat is very slightly different to a normal SPD, so just be careful with that. If you're going to go with the Boardman pedals, make sure you use the Boardman cleats. And I've got some elite bottle cages on there, which I think you agree go very nicely with the colour of the bike. Let's talk a little bit about the SRAM 1x, because SRAM basically pulled this in from their mountain bike side of things. The way this works is if you're riding off-road, which obviously this bike is designed to do, it tends to throw up a lot of crap around the bottom bracket area, okay, and tends to mean that it clogs up the front mech if you've got a double front, and means you can throw the chain. So what they've wanted to try and do basically is go with a single speed system, but obviously as such, if you've not got a front mech to hold the thing on, then you're going to be asking for trouble and you're going to throw the chain all the time. So they've done this amazing clutch system, which I'm no engineer, so I'm not even going to try to go into fathom how the whole thing works. But all you need to know is it does a really good job. Really good job. Keeps the tension in the chain, whatever the gearing. And as you can see, that is a big gear. You've got a 10 sprocket as your biggest gear, and a 44, which is your smallest gear at the back. Now that pretty much covers, I would say, quite close to what would be a compact chain set, which would be a 50 11 top end and a 34 28 probably in terms of your lowest gear. So that's probably comparable. Just bear in mind though, if you do want to ride this on the road as a commuter, whatever, you're going to have a bit of a difference in terms of the size of the gear between each gear change. Obviously you're coming down quite a number of teeth to the next gear, so your cadence will drop with each gear change. I can't say that I've, apart from going downhill at obviously quite a bit of speed, I've never really out-pedalled. I can't say I've really out-pedalled the 10 sprocket. That is a 44 on the front. Now what they've done with the front sprockets, chain rings, is they've actually designed the jockey wheels and the chain ring in such a way that it actually pushes the dirt out to the side. So if you have a look around there, traditionally you always get a bit of a build up around the chain ring, but the way that this works is it actually pushes. It's quite a thick, you can see there hopefully from the side there how thick those teeth are, and it tends to just squash all the muck out to the side, which does quite a good job at making sure you're not really ever going to get much chain slip. Does obviously mean that you're tending to put a little bit more pressure on the chain, and with an 11-speed chain, probably going to, particularly in the conditions that I ride in, which is pretty dusty, pretty sandy, you're going to go through chains a little bit quicker, depending on how well you lubricate the thing. But that's another story. The actual chain that it came with was a KMC XL chain, I believe. That lasted okay. Have to say I'm not the world's biggest fan of KMC chains. This is actually a Campag chain that I've put on here, Campag 11 speed, because all the 11 speed pitches are exactly the same. I find the Campag chains wear a lot better than the all the others, basically Shimano, SRAM or KMC, and that's pretty much it really. I've just added sort of a bag on the back for a multi-tool and a couple of spare tubes and things like that. Apart from that, it's pretty much standard. I've got an extra long out front K-edge mount for my Garmin. That's really it. Haven't as yet had to change the pads. Still reasonable amount of meat on those, even with riding it for the best part of a year. But then I do tend to be quite easy on brakes anyway. Bottom bracket I haven't had to touch, which I'm pretty impressed about. It's just a really neat system. Boardman puts a really good package together, and these were, when I bought them, retailed for £1,000, and at that time you couldn't get a better bike for the price. They really are very, very good value. So definitely, if you're going to be doing cyclocross, starting out in racing, or you're wanting a touring bike, or you're wanting something that's going to be able to do potentially quite a bit, certainly this is a bike to consider. If you're wanting to use it on the road a lot, I don't think the one times is going to suit the road riding. If you're coming from a road background and you're used to very small changes in gearing between dropping down each gear, then this probably isn't the bike for you in terms of the one-time setup. But as a package, It's a very, very, very good package. Definitely, I would say, the best sort of for the price range, without doubt. And that's pretty much it. Thanks very much for watching.